Cards to Yards, brought to you by the Adventure Stadium and the Adventure Begins, located on 1488, right next to a big old movie theater. I'm Chaz Graves, and here with me today, Preston Laird and Mark Blair.
Hey Chaz, thanks as always for that introduction. This is Cards to Yards. I'm Mark here with Preston. We are at the Adventure Begins Comics and Games in Conroe, Texas, up top at the Adventure Stadium. This is Cards to Yards. We talk all things cards and sports. Preston, a lot going on as there have been the last couple of weeks. You know, basketball, hockey are probably the two peak sports right now. Yep. But also College World Series, Softball World Series, just a lot of fun stuff here at the beginning of the summer. And then, of course, baseball well underway. Speaking of hockey and Stanley Cup, another record broke. Another one. Yep. We cover like the jersey aspect a little bit, just from memorabilia and that part of the industry and market. This is the last jersey Wayne Gretzky wore as a member of the Edmonton Oilers. It sold for $1.45 million.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
the great one. I mean, yeah, I actually started enjoying hockey because of him, and I was kind of an Edmonton fan when I was a kid, even though I really knew nothing about hockey. I just knew Wayne Gretzky played for Edmonton, right, and he was awesome. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, I'm surprised to go for a little bit more than that, to be honest with you. But that's really cool. Almost $1.5 million.
Yeah,
probably what it was, 7th or 8th year in the league, I'm thinking, somewhere around there. Yeah,
somewhere around there. Yeah, it was for the 1988 Stanley Cup Finals.
Yep.
I didn't know this until I saw this story. That was the second Game 4 of that series. Yeah. They had played about half of Game 4 in Boston at the Garden. Mm-hmm. The lights went out. So they basically just went ahead and moved the rest of the series to Edmonton. They replayed that game from the start. Oilers were already up 3-0 in the series. They win that game 6-3.
Yep, they were so dominant
with the sweep, and that's the jersey, champagne stains and all. I never would have thought a hockey jersey would have garnered that much. However, if there was a player to get it, it would be him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were able to watch any of the Edmonton Avs like kind of intermission segments, but he was there in Edmonton,
I watched a lot of his commentary, and he was visibly irritated after the first game, sure, the 8-6 game. He was absolutely disgusted with the play on both sides, but being his heart bleeds Edmonton.
Oh, sure.
And you could tell that he wasn't pleased after that game.
I mean, don't you feel like that's the reason a lot of the all-time greats aren't commentators? Because can you imagine Jordan critiquing someone else's game?
Yeah.
Now there are a lot of Hall of Famers and they're really good at it, but it either comes down to they usually just don't want to do it, or they're just not good on camera. But
and you have to let go of that bias, and it's hard to let go of that bias, in the media world. And for him, it was visibly a difficult task for him to achieve. So I kind of enjoyed it.
And it's the same reason that those top elite, all-time Hall of Fame greats aren't great coaches.
Yeah,
because it's just,
that's true.
they expect the players to be able to do what they do.
Joe Sakic sure is a heck of a general manager, an all-time great. Holy moly! Thank you, Joe Sakic.
He is. And we'll get to that in just a second. But so the rest of that auction, there was another iconic piece of memorabilia. The famous game where Willis Reed came out, from the locker room, and they thought he was injured, not going to play. That was Game 7 of the 1970 NBA Finals. Mm-hmm. That was his warm-up jacket. Yeah. So talk about iconic.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it looks awesome. That was over $370,000. Not all sports memorabilia carries great memories. Ironically enough, an odd piece from kind of the dark side of MLB history. The 1919 contract of White Sox pitcher Eddie Cicotte sold for $40,000.
Yep.
And if you know about baseball, you know what happened that year. That was the year of the Black Sox scandal. So that's pretty cool. And if you've seen the movie 8 Men Out, he was portrayed by David Strathairn. So
cool.
A good movie, by the way.
Yeah.
But, and
I may have seen it.
I think the
way,
Astros
way
scandal
long.
pales in comparison
Oh, gosh,
to the
yeah.
Black Sox scandal. But
Whatever the Astros were doing, there's 15 other teams in the league that were doing the exact same thing. They were
Sure.
made the scapegoat. You know?
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then as far as big time cards that just hit the market,
Yeah.
off of a whatnot break for Panini Flawless, they pulled what a lot of people are calling the modern day Grail. That was a LeBron James triple logo man from Flawless 2020-21. That was unwrapped. That's going to be part of Golden's June auction. Now, if you don't know what this is the logo, the NBA logo, the logo man from one jersey from each of the teams that he's played with. So it's
That's
a
insane.
one of one.
Yeah.
That card has been so highly sought after that Drake bought like 10 cases just to see if he could pull it. He couldn't do it. Whatnot also had a promotion at one point where if you pulled it doing a Whatnot stream, you got a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So crazy. That's going to go up for auction through Golden, and I'll be interested to see how much that goes for. It's going to be a lot.
Heck yeah, man.
And especially for like an unsigned card, it'll be interesting to see what it goes for just like a
non-rookie,
quote-unquote jersey card, but it's a true one-on-one.
Yep.
All three of his teams are represented. It is insane. Well,
I bet it goes for $500,000.
I'm going to say $1 million, yeah.
All right.
So NBA Finals, speaking of LeBron, who's usually there, and now he's been at home the entire playoffs. The heating up. I don't want to speak for you. I had thought the Warriors were going to run away with this thing.
Yeah, me too.
Although I did originally pick the Celtics coming out of the East.
Yeah, you're dead on with that one.
And now it is 2-1. None of the games have been pretty. Game 3 was the closest, and that was still a 16-point. And Steph Curry is now questionable because he tweaked his foot.
Yeah, I was wondering what happened. I didn't see that.
3 or 4 minutes to go, he got wound
Tatum
up.
fell on it, didn't he? Yeah.
He got tangled up with Tatum. Obviously, that's going to change things. But for now, it's 2-1 Boston. Game 4, of course, is in Boston. So now they have home court advantage. They're going to try to maintain that. And, typical star fashion, Curry's leading the Warriors with about 31 a game, and Tatum leading the Celtics with 22. Ugly series.
Yeah.
It's really ugly. I mean, there's been like Curry hitting 4-point plays and crazy threes, and Celtics dominating in the paint. So if you like people doing what they do, it's good. But as we said, 20+ point win for the Celtics, then 20+ plus win for the Warriors, and then Celtics kind of ran away at the end of Game 3.
It feels like the majority of the playoffs this year has been that way. There hasn't been a whole lot of really close games, overtimes. Usually you got 8 or 10 overtime games in the playoffs, and we just haven't seen it this year.
Well, as we know, if you want excitement in playoffs, turn to NHL.
Absolutely.
And
yes.
Now your Avs weren't too exciting because they didn't really give Edmonton and the most exciting player in the league, Connor McDavid, a chance. They swept them. But I will say, as of today, it's the first time in 21 years that the Avalanche have gone to the Stanley Cup Finals.
2001.
The tickets on the secondary market for home games at Colorado are $10,000.
Holy moly.
And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, that's probably some of them, but still just any of them hitting that much.
Well,
a starved hockey town.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see them play in the playoffs, and I think it was in '96 because I was living in Aurora, and that's when I became a really big hockey fan. I was living in Denver when the Avalanche moved there, and then to win a Stanley Cup the year after they moved there, it was absolutely incredible, and I've been a fan ever since. So I am super stoked. I was screaming and yelling and just jumping with joy for them to go play for the Stanley Cup. I'm super excited.
Well, Colorado's obviously excited because they're spending a lot of money for those tickets right now.
I mean, how dominant have they been in the playoffs?
Pretty dominant.
2 sweeps, 12-1 in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and they won every single road game.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever happened in the playoffs, but they're like a out of control freight train, and I don't think either Tampa Bay or New York can stop them. But I agree with you. You told me last night, you definitely got to root for the Rangers because
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is definitely a lot more seasoned and experienced. And I think that the Avalanche would absolutely roll over the Rangers. But, yeah, with Tampa, it's going to be a challenge.
Be interesting to see what ticket prices are for the Garden if the Rangers make the Cup. But
it'll be double that probably.
As of now, it's 2-2.
Yep.
Both the Rangers and Tampa Bay won both of their games at home.
Yep, good series.
So it's probably going to go. It's probably going to go 7. But Edge is going to go to Tampa Bay because they're trying to become the 6th team with three or more Stanley Cups in a row. So going to try to three-peat there. But again, yeah. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Currently tied at 2, and whatever goalie has to face the Avalanche, they better just get ready.
Yeah.
You just need Colorado's goalie just needs to be able to if they can keep it to 4 goals and under, they're good.
I agree.
But this is the first time I remember a team being so dominant with such poor goalie play.
Well, it's because they're dominant defensively.
Right.
That's why. I mean, they're one of the most dominant defensive teams that I've ever seen in the playoffs. I mean, Makar is an absolute beast.
Yeah,
I mean,
he is.
He could play any position on the ice, and he would excel. So there's just so many superstars on that team. They're so stacked, so much depth. They can lose 2 goalies and still wind up winning because their offense is that powerful.
Yeah, so. Makar is really driving up that 2019-20 wax box prices because you also have the Hughes brothers too, which is great. But Makar's really he's become a star very quickly, and he's a very offensive defenseman.
Yes, he is. He's a very offensive defenseman.
I'm not
That's a great
by
description.
his play, but he's a very offensive defenseman.
I wished I had a few of his rookies, but I don't.
And then someone else who has been pretty spectacular in a different sport, Verlander, he's pretty good.
Yeah, he's decent.
I mean, last time you and I talked a couple weeks back, he had just almost got a no-hitter, and then he almost got another one last week, 7 innings in.
He's one of the all-time greats, man.
But he did make history, or he's starting to really carve out his name as one of the all-time greats. He's now 17th all-time. In strikeouts, he's the current leader because he just passed former teammate Max Scherzer on that list. But he also jumped over John Smoltz, who's one of the best. So
and he's just a handful behind Schilling, and he'll be in the top 15 probably by the end of the season.
Oh yeah, he's over. He's at 3,086 right now. Astros have remained hot. Angels got ice cold to the point of Trout having the longest hitless streak. Was he 0 for 25, 26, something like that? It was insane.
To the point where they had to fire their manager.
They fired their manager. They fired Joe Madden.
Yeah.
Because it's just...
It's a train wreck.
It really is. But you have Ohtani, you have Trout for now, and you had to make a change. But Astros are probably where we thought they would be. I don't know if I thought they would be this far ahead.
Yeah, 9.5 games. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, but however, Seattle's giving us problems right now for some reason. So it's baseball. So we'll see. But Astros are doing very well. Only a couple teams have a better record than them. Unfortunately, one of them being the Yankees. But I'm sure we'll be able to focus on that more. It's just inevitable that they're going to face each other in the playoffs again. Yeah, there's no way it's not going to happen. All right, done with the yards part. Let's get to the cards.
Yeah.
For me, looking forward, top series 2.
Heck yeah.
I know that people are like, oh, there's no Bobby Witt. There's actually a possibility there's going to be SP or SSP, which is going to drive the pack prices bonkers if that happens. The same way Vladdy Jr. Did a few years back. Speaking of, he is on the packs and boxes. So he's the player on the packs and boxes. He's playing really well
this year, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, him and Pena are like neck and neck for Rookie of the Year consideration.
So without Witt and without Pena, I think they're holding them for update, which will be a massive series. The way it's looking. 2 former Astros are in the top rookie list for this set. That's Seth Beer and Jose Siri.
Yeah.
So wish we could have held on to both of them, honestly. But, trades and Astros have been pretty smart with their trades and their player management.
Farm system's excellent. Yeah.
Also, O'Neal Cruz and Shane Baz. But again, Bobby Witt Jr. will have some of those 87 variations.
Yeah.
And rumored of, the unnumbered short print. So we'll see if that happens. What else do we have to look forward to?
So this week we've got Nora basketball that came in. We're going to get Absolute football and Obsidian football tomorrow, which will be yesterday by the time this is broadcast. So on Friday the 10th, we'll be getting that good stuff in the shop, along with the Top Series 2. Next week, we've got some phenomenal stuff, including, and I'm so happy to announce this, the first time ever Topps Chrome is producing Champions League women's soccer. Wow. So, this has been a subject of a couple of our podcasts, how we are really enjoying seeing a surge in women's sports and sports cards and how that translates into that market. So it's a tremendous sign. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interest in it, and it's going to bring a lot more people of the female variety into the hobby, I hope. So that's a really cool product coming out. I'm probably going to buy a box or two of that myself and just forget I've got it. We've got Flawless football coming out. Got a couple of them going to be in the store, so if you want one, you better give me a call and say, hey, Preston, I want one of those Flawless boxes, because that's going to be super hot. Then we got Prism No Huddle football coming in as well, Obsidian Soccer, and I believe that wraps up pretty much most of the good stuff that's coming out this week and next week.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot.
Yeah,
some of those,
it is a lot.
Because some of those pack prices are pretty hefty. But then, man, that soccer set, I can't believe that hasn't happened yet. I can't believe,
especially with the success of the women's soccer,
yes.
In World Cup play. It's surprising.
I mean, now they've had cards scattered throughout other sets.
Yeah.
And Goodwin Champions and Allen and Ginter and stuff, but never like a
Their own
proper soccer release. That is amazing. Well, that about wraps it up. I mean, we're just going to keep an eye on the NBA Finals.
Yep. HGA grading is open, by the way. Bring in your cards for the 45-day service.
Bring in all your Kel McCarrs for when they sweep the finals.
Kel McCarrs and Justin Verlanders.
And then we'll see how the NBA Finals plays out. I think that Curry injury is going to make or break the Warriors for the next 4 games. But we always like to close with a glossary term that might be thrown out. You might come across if you're new to the hobby, or if it's just a term that's new to you. Today is flip stock. We've talked about parallels a lot before, and because they could not think of any more parallels, they decided to print the front of the card like it was the back, and the back like it was the front.
Yeah.
I know Heritage did this, so it's a kind of a Topps thing for now. Usually they are limited and serial numbered, but just one more variation to chase. Flip stock, word of the day. That wraps it up for Preston and myself, Mark. This has been Cards to Yards. Back to you, Chaz.
Well, gang, that's all for today's episode. So join us next week. Cards to Yards, brought to you by the Adventure Stadium and the Adventure Begins. Again, we're located off 1488 and Woodland Square Boulevard. See you next time.